Hi, today I wanted to just introduce myself and tell you a bit about my own journey with choosing a low starch diet, why I decided to do it and how it's benefited me and why I've stuck to it. So I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis about 20 years ago now. Ankylosing spondylitis is a condition that causes inflammation to your joints. So I've lived with it, for 20 years, and I've had flare-ups now and again, but in the last probably 5 years, it's kind of gotten a bit worse. I've had more consistent flare-ups, including in my toes mainly, my lower back, my hips, my knee. I had a case where I couldn't walk or use my knee for a long time, in my jaw, ribs, basically anywhere that you have joints. So I started looking into ways that I could possibly reduce my inflammation through food. Now, firstly I started taking turmeric capsules because I knew that they were an anti-inflammatory food. And then after a while of doing a bit of research, I stumbled across the low starch diet. So I started by cutting out things like pasta, rice, white potato, all the foods that I knew were high starch. This lasted for about 8 months or so and I hadn't really seen any difference. After persisting with it for that amount of time, I came across a Facebook group, and this taught me that starch is in a lot more foods than I initially realised. I had no idea that eating packaged foods or a lot of vegetables actually also contain starch, and these also had to be cut out from my diet. So that seemed pretty mega to me. I thought, there's no way I can do this, it's just ridiculous, so there's so many changes to make here. I kind of mulled it over for a while. So one thing I suggest is, if you are considering going full on into a low starch diet, maybe don't think of it as going straight away, full blown, cutting out everything. Perhaps make it a bit more of a gradual thing. So I had already cut out the main ingredients and adapted myself to that first. And I'd also taken on a challenge of removing sugar from my diet for a month. At the time, I didn't realise that this was going to actually help me in my journey to becoming on a low starch diet, but it was a step that I'd taken. Now, still absolutely reducing starch and sugars of all sorts was a bit daunting. So I kept mulling it over, and finally I got fed up of being in pain all the time, and I thought, I'm going to have to do something about this. So I decided that I was going to go for it. I was going to start my proper full elimination process. Where I started was, there's a great website called autoimmunewellness.com. On there they provide a quick start guide so that you can see what foods to cut out, which you can include, and how to basically go through the elimination process. So I printed out all these sheets, I highlighted with a marker which foods I was going to keep into my diet through the elimination process, and everything else was cut out. The main foods that I kept were chicken, and I also kept lemon, ginger, garlic. So I was surprised actually at how many meals I managed to make with few ingredients. I knew it was only going to be a short-term thing, so yeah, I was ready for it. I knew I was going to do it, and I thought, if it doesn't work, then at least I've tried, but if I don't try, I will never know. So after the first 3 months, I started to make a plan of which foods I was going to reintroduce back into my diet. Every time I introduced something back into my diet, I was so nervous because I was just hoping that the ingredients that I loved would be fine. And luckily for me, a lot of foods I have been able to reintroduce. So it was just that initial elimination process where I had to cut out everything. Now, obviously starch, anything with starch in, is completely gone, but I've absolutely learned to love this way of life. When you go into it, you just need to know that it's not a short-term fix. It is going to be a change that you'll have to make for life if you want to stay pain-free, and if it does work for you, because obviously it probably doesn't work for everybody, I don't know, but for me personally, I have seen a lot of benefits. I mean, when I wake up in the morning now, I can get up and walk straight into the bathroom and get on with my day, whereas, well, for the last few years I've been quite stiff in the morning. At the moment I've been able to run up to 10k with running every week now, whereas previously I was a bit too nervous. I'd get so far and then I could feel that my legs were starting to freeze up a bit. So I have seen a lot of benefits. If you choose to go on a low starch diet, I would just make sure you're in the right mindset before you go into it, and know that you're going to be, it's a long-term thing, it's not something that's going to be a quick fix and then you go back to normal. If you cut out the starch because of an autoimmune disease, it is a big lifestyle change, but I absolutely love it. I find that it's opened me up to eating a lot more different food because I've had to try new things. I've had to start making everything from scratch, which I never did before. So before starting a low starch diet, I'd make everything from a tin, I'd buy lots of packaged foods, and it's not until you cut those out that you realise what's in them and probably how simple it is to make real food. So you don't need a huge amount of ingredients to make tasty foods. You can make something tasty with just a few ingredients, and that's why I wanted to share with other people the easy recipes that I found, because I'm busy. I can't be faffing about with preparing food every day. I need food that I can just throw together. It's going to fit in with my day, but it's got to be tasty, of course. So if you decide to make a lifestyle change, whether it's for health reasons or just because you want to start cooking more real food, I would just make sure you pre-plan. Don't see it as a really quick fix, and you want to make sure that you can maintain it and it's going to be something that you can manage. So for me personally, by cutting out the high starchy foods first, then the sugar, and then preparing myself for going full on to the elimination process, that was a real help for me because it just helped me do it in small steps. I kind of learned things along the way before I threw myself into it. So I hope that my recipes help you to enjoy living a low starch life, and if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to help people along their journey because I'm actually quite new to the journey. I'm only 9 months in at the moment, but because I'm loving it so much, I just wanted to share my experiences and help other people. I wouldn't have got to where I am without following the AIP community and seeing everybody's comments and how they've overcome challenges and everything like that. So I just wanted to help other people as well. If you enjoy my channel, if you enjoy my recipes, and if you want to follow my journey in low starch life, please subscribe to my channel. It would really help me out. And also I have Instagram stories. If you'd like to follow me, that would be brilliant, and I would just love to hear your stories. Thank you very much for watching, and please do click on the notification bell because then you'll receive notifications when I post a new recipe.